Okay, so I'll add the password there and I'm going to click on register. Welcome guys, welcome to live stream where we're going to continue our journey building this with the Firebase as a backend service. Here we got a user getting registered. If I go to expense tracker, Google Firebase, I don't see that user right now. Okay, so I'm going to click on this register button. And I should be able to have the debugger running now. And the debugger is something that, okay, let me just bring it down a bit. We're gonna let it run. Now we got this X as user. Now let's see what is this. So X is basically, we got our user ID. We got this T1 email verified false. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, yep, that's fine. False now. Yeah, that's looking good. I'm gonna let it run, and here we're setting the user into our database. Okay, so now we have the routing triggered in, where we're actually moving to our dashboard. Okay, now let's take a look at our not RxJS, but Firebase. Now I can see I've got the user generated here, and in a database, we got the user generated as well with the same phone number that we created. Now, next thing what we need to do here is we are going to add a database service, or at least figure out what we're going to do with storing the expenses for the user. Now it comes to the design that we probably want to follow. I've got a user collections. I can have this. I can have for example, this is the user, and I'm going to add another. Let's just say collection. We can start another collection within this particular user, and we can call that at expenses. Okay, if we look at our let me just bring this here. That's our debugger for Chrome. I'm going to bring this all the way up. Okay, so now here I'm going to go to application, and I'm going to find out if there is any data here in the local storage for our applications. Right now we got this install date, and then that's not really relevant, but anyway, I'm going to go to click on plus button, and I'm going to add an amount, let's just say 50. I'm going to add a description, so test expense. Let's select type, and let's click on this rent and click on add. Once I do that, I can see the data here, and also the data is stored here in this underscore cap underscore 05. Okay, so we got this data is stored now with the date and time, and also with the description and type of an amount. Let's go and add another one. So if I say 100, and I will say this is spent on lights for YouTube. Now let's click on this, let's just say services, we can add, and there you go. We got another, you know, objects getting stored. Now I can go to date. I'm going to go to the previous date, and I don't see any data there. If I go and add 90, I'll just do a dish push here and select that like movies. Click on add. Now we see another key getting stored here. Depending on this date, it's got all the data for that particular. Click on today. Now we're gonna see this like today is expensive. Down the road, we're gonna have to create like budgets. A budget would be something that can be shared across people, and that will make this multi-user application. That'd be good. But for now, let's move on to adding these expenses into our Firebase. So here we got this users collection. I'm going to use this document, and I would like to basically create a collection within this document, the users. So it's going to take a bit of investigation, the way we're going to do it. First of all, let's go to breakpoints. I'm going to say view all breakpoints, and I'm going to get rid of all the breakpoints because I know things are working. And let's click on done now. All right, welcome to live stream, guys. If anybody watching this, please let me know if the quality of the stream is good enough. And you're enjoying it. If you have any question about Angular or Ionic, let me know as well. I'm gonna clean up some code here. Few things I would like to make sure that I commit and push the code to the repository before we move on. So I'm gonna go and change this bit here. So I'm gonna get rid of this if. I'm gonna use a ternary operator. I'm gonna say if the user is there, then we can say off user or off null. Let's get rid of this bit. And I would like to get rid of this and move there as well. All right, this is like a much cleaner now. So let's go to the user service. We got the auth module with the auth service there. And now I don't see we need to actually work on auth module for now, because our auth module is looking good. We got everything, and this can be reusable. If I create a new application, I can simply use this module and I will have the functionality right there. I don't have to redo this again and again. All right, now we're gonna focus on our dashboard page in this case. Here in the services, if you look at, I'm actually gonna make the size a little bigger for you guys. So 12 should be big enough for you guys to see. All right, better. All right, so now we got this storage service. Now within this storage service, we are using this data service, which is like, we're just holding these expenses and today's total. Now the thing is, we would like to actually leave this here for now and then create another database service which can be used to actually look at our stored collections to that particular user. So here we're creating new behavior subject. Okay, I'm going to actually let's do one thing. What are the changes that I've done? Like to comment except capacitor config. Actually, yeah, I can do the capacitor config as well in the package.json. And I would like to do comment and I'll say what module is good, and I'm going to do commit and push the code. So what we need to do here is when I uh, create an expense, I would like to create expense service. Here we got expense storage service, which we already created. I would like to make this actually use this service right here, and I would like to actually somehow I want to basically store the expenses. That's very, very easy. Um, mm, all right, let me go and create another service. I'm gonna use Angular. Let's call this DB. Okay. Maybe that should be fine. And it's gonna generate a DB service for us. Um, all right, so we got this DB service there. I'm actually would like to delete this for a second. I'm gonna go and try creating one more time. And we're gonna create this service. I'm gonna DB slash DB. Right now I should be able to see that DB service there. Now here, first of all, let's create an access to our collection. So here you can see we're gonna have to make a path to the collection, and then we need to be able to check the value changes. Okay, and then that's what we're gonna be showing into our application. So for now, let's take some help from our data surveys. We got this expense and we got this today's total expense. Okay, so let's open this up side by side. I'm gonna make the screen bigger, and let's close this. I'm gonna go to DB service. Right, so first of all, we need expenses. First, let's have a connection to the expenses. I'll do private. I'll do expenses collection, add a dollar symbol. And what this would take is a path to the collection. So what we need to do here is, oh no, let's first of all create a variable. So that would be Angular Firestore collection, and then we need expenses there. Okay, so we do Angular Firestore collection, and the type can be, for example, I want to make sure that we have expense interface in our, for now, let's leave any. I want to be able to have an expense interface. So if I go to here, and here we got the expense interface. So that should be the type of our data. So let's close this file, and we're gonna do expense interface. It's still not importing. Auto import is not working here. Let me see what's going on. So it's expense interface. let's that would be expense interface. That would be an array for those. And now, because we're going to be actually assigning dates to those, so let's I don't want to be actually making connection to the whole 1,000 like entries. Like if the users keeps adding the data, it's going to be quite a bit. So for that, we just use expenses and a dollar symbol, and we're going to create observable. That would be an expense. That would be an array for that as well. This one, let's leave that any for now. So in our constructor function, I would like to first of all inject, I will inject our Firestore. And also I'm going to inject Angular Fireart. Now I can use this dot expense collection, and the connection that we can have is basically this dot Firestore dot collection, and here is the path, and the path would be but now we're gonna have like a, let's just do this, add a template symbol, and I'm gonna type here user, actually template strings here with the users, and then this would take a value from our Fireart. So that currently we have a user service which we can subscribe to. I'm gonna type here user. Actually, have a look first of all. So here we got the user, which is like a user there, and I would like to have an access to its value. Hmm. Let's try this thing. So I'm gonna do private user service, and I would like to do this dot user service dot user dot subscribe, and then I can have a user back, and then inside this I'm going to move this bit up. Once I get the access to the user, then I'm going to say user dot uid, and then we've got this all right, let me just add probably flash. I'm not sure if that's gonna work because right now I don't see that here. If I go to a documentation here, so here we got this .doc that we're gonna have to have access to, and then we're gonna okay, that's fine. Just got to know one thing which we had to do when I do a collection, which is going to be just users collection dot doc would be our, I'm going to use a template variable, and I'm going to use user.uid. That's going to be our doc, and then that's where basically we're going to have a connection to dot collection, and that would be expenses. And error goes away. So here we got this connection to our expenses there. Now, next thing what we need to do, probably if I go to our documentation, here we're gonna have an actual check if the values are changed, right? So we do that by, once we have the connection, then I'm going to do this bit. I'm gonna do this dot expenses equal to this dot expenses collection dot value changes. So we got that connections done as well. Now this is good. Now we would like to create a function which will help us to what is this? I don't need that user. I'd like to add a functional probably add a function here which will add an expense to our database. So here we got this async set function. I'm going to be basically using this bit here, and let's just copy that. Now we got this set expense, okay, and that would be so what it does is it sets today's expense, okay, and then it awaits and emits the new value. Okay, that's fine. We don't really need to worry about this bit because we're going to be subscribing directly to this observable. So what we need to do here is set today's total, calculate today's total, right? And we also have function to create. So I'm going to open expense. There is storage. I've got this storage. So this is where we're creating this. Okay, so we say create expense. So let's copy this code instead of this. All right, so here we are creating an expense. We got expense there, and then promise y, that's fine. Date and time service, we're gonna have to inject it, and then we got this service get from local, get that key. That's a little bit tricky here because let's take one step at a time. So in the private daytime service, and the error will go away. Then we don't need this storage service. So what we need to do here is, because we want to basically have access to a collection of today's date. So let's bring this to the next line, and then bring this to the next line as well. And now in expenses, we want to get access to collection. Now we need to have a doc. So first of all, let's just not worry too much about it. What we want to do here is we just want to create expense to verify the data is there. So for that, I'm going to go to data service. All right, yeah, I made a click there. Let's close this. Go to users. I'm going to copy this function, bring it here, paste that function there, and now we got this a connection to user, or actually connection to our expense collection. And then here we got the doc that we can create. And the doc should be, let's take a look at our documentation first. So here we got this collection, we got a document, and then we got this collection that we want to create. So I'm gonna type expenses, and it needs one particular entry first. So what is our interface? So let's go here, and I'm gonna click here. So it needs amount, description, type, and this bit. So let's move this on the side, and then first thing it will require is amount. Type would be number. We can say 50 as value, and then with description. Say this is the test description. You can add in the field there, which would be a type field. And it's just like, let's just say general. Add another field, and that would be created on, and that would be type of date. So, that's a bit weird. We can sort that in the string format or timestamp. That's fine. String is fine for now. And I'll just leave that null for now. Okay. Right. So now if we take a look at our code, we can see now we can see that we got this collection expenses, and then here we got another document there. So we got expenses collection, and then another document, and this doc that we created can have multiple collection. So expenses, a user ID, and we got a collection, which is expenses. And then what we need is a date here. Okay. And then we can have, that's a document. And I would like to have this as a document there. That's a bit weird. So we got this expenses there, then we got this document. And then within this document, if I want to add that would be a bit weird, because what we need to do here is we need to basically, in the expenses, we want to create a collection. I want to create a collection of expenses. Think about it. Do you guys have any suggestion? Anybody watching me probably want to send me a message if you guys have any suggestion. How do we structure our database? We got expenses, we got a document. If I add another document here, you can say auto ID, click on save. That's another document there. So I would like to have this document created as date. And here we can create a collection like Okay, so within these expenses, I want to be able to create a document um, with the date, with the current date. So let's go to code. And here, first of all, let's get rid of this bit, get rid of this. And I want to create add expense to collection. And this would be expense, which we will have expense interface and the ID for the document. Okay, so this is an ID. ID would be a date. Okay, that's fine. And then this would be an expense. So let's see if we can figure out one thing. If we're going to go to data service and see what we're doing here. So when we have a data service, we got a new observable, we got this I don't want to do the data service, but this would be expense storage service. So this is the function that we need now. So we need to create a date and time, create it on, then we got this expense list. No need to do that. We just want to call that function with a particular date. Okay, so it's successfully compiled. We got this set timeout. Now let's take a look at our collection. I'm going to refresh this page. Now let's look at it in the bright. All right, so here we got user, got this user created, and then in our user, don't see any collection. And I want to be able to see its log there. So it says status bar not fine. So here we got this auth service, which is saying subscribing to this. Okay, that's fine. That thing actually didn't run, so I want to be able to run this. So right now the DB service is not being used. So that's probably the reason. So what I want to do here is I'm going to cut this, comment this out. Okay. And then I'm going to go to add expense component. And here we are going to initialize create expense. So we got an expense values coming in, and then date and time service, that's fine. And then we use this expense service to create expense. And then that goes there. And then we dismiss the model. In this create expense, I'm going to, it says save to local. Instead of local, I would just like to call that particular function. So let's just comment this bit out for now. And then here we're going to use our database service. So let's just inject db service. And then I'm going to use this dot db service dot add expense to collection. And it requires an expense and then a date. Expense dot created on dot to date string, for example. And then I can see the response. It's like a value is going to be wide, so I don't need to do that. And then if there is an error, I'll do a catch, do an error log, do the log expense created. Okay, that should be it. I'm going to do a breakpoint there. I'm going to go to the function, and here I'm going to just do console log. I'm going to say executing, okay, adding expense to collection. Okay, let's do a breakpoint there as well. And now let's go to our application. I'm going to type, I'm going to click on this plus button. Let's click on 60, like this, and then do like range. Click add, and there you go. We are in expense. So we got an expense there. We got the credit on the string there. And then I'm going to say adding connection to, okay, so let it go. And then we successfully got back into den, and that's good. Let's let it run. Now let's verify that here. Let's refresh. There you go. Okay, looks like we got an expenses collection. So we got this user, that's the expense, then we got a collection, and we got just as a date. Okay, and then we got this a data. Now if I want to click on plus again, I'll say blah, and then type the different value, and then we say general, click on add. I'm going to let this run. And now if I call it refresh, I guess. we go here, and then it's actually overriding this bit. Right. So within the document, we can't really add more. So we might want to add another collection to this particular document. So the way we want to do this, we want to add another collection. Okay. Okay, let's go back to the code. We close. We're just doing a few things. Let's just, and here I'm gonna go to collection, and here we're saying add expense to collection. We're creating an expense, and we're create it on, and then we're adding our doc. Now I'm gonna do another thing here. So here we got created on, and we got an expense. Okay, that's fine. So now I'm going to do something dot. Okay, that's going to be a promise. We don't want to set the value here. I want to start another collection there. And I'll call this data. And we say, right. Okay, now it's time for us to actually create an ID for our actually expense. But for now, let's just say data, and we're just going to use this expense there. Now let's see what happens. So here it's saying argument of expense interface is not sampled per string. So we do expense dot, and we want to basically have an ID now. So let's comment this out, and I'm going to get rid of this simulation. I don't need that anymore. Um, let's add a number to our expense, and then we go to add expense. And here, basically need an ID there. So I would actually auto generate this bit. I'm going to do ID, new form control, and the value that I would like to give this would be automatically generated. I don't want to show that there. So to generate an ID, we can probably use some third-party library. Let's go to the browser, and I'm going to say JavaScript. Wait, unique ID. Okay, so we should have some simple function. So it says install user ID, or we can do something like this using math.random. .net. Okay, so we're just gonna keep this simple for now. I'm gonna say date.now. Okay. And let's go to our database. And here I'm gonna uncomment this. I'm gonna use this collection, and I'm gonna say expense.id. And then what it's saying is it's saying a type of number is not assignable to type of string. Okay, so what we need to do here is we need to basically convert that to string. And that would be just an expense. That makes sense. Okay, that's fine. Okay, let's take a look what we got now. Let's go to the browser first. I'm going to delete this collection. I can't do that, but I'm just going to do like delete document. So we got an expenses, right? And it's under the user. That's good. Then I'm going to try adding a document now. So let's see our application is running. I'm going to click on plus button and say 50. Say testing one. Let's just select something like games. Click on add, and debugger goes there. That's the created value. That would be this one. I will create a collection data, and then we got this expense doc. I will set that expense there. Okay, that's our expense, which is like an ID is getting there as well. All right, so let's let it run, and it got to it then. That's good. And then I'm going to refresh our database and see if we are able to get that. All right, so here we got expenses, got this collection there, and then we got the data, and the data has this document, and then there you go, we got this now. Okay, so within the data, I would like to basically add a current another expense. Let's just say 70 testing 2, and set the type to, let's just say services. Click on add. I'm just going to let it run, and now another expense is there, the testing 2. If I go plus again, I would say 90, and then just say gibberish, and I'm gonna say rent, let it run. I'm just gonna let it run, close the debugger actually, and there you go, the third value is there as well. So things looking good, guys. We just want to make sure that we got the proper queries set up now. Now let's just do a subscribe to the data. Okay, so subscribe to basically this date. Okay, so let's go to the code. Now I'm gonna try going to our expense storage service again and see what happens here. So what we were doing here is we were creating a date and time with ISO format. Then this was the key. So this uncomment, move this above, and instead of this, I'm going to use this key as value. That's what we created. And then yeah, that's not required. So just minimize this for now. Now we got this key there, and then we got this add to the collection. That's fine. Now create some here we got the expense collection. I'm gonna create another one. I'm gonna say today expense collection. That would be Angular Firestore collection, and this type would be let's say so we got today's expense collection, and in our constructor we like to create that query after we actually subscribe to the user. So here we got this expense collection. So let's today expenses dollar symbol, we use variable, and I'm gonna use expense I should do. So now we're gonna do this dot today expense collection equal to this dot firestore dot collection, and the path is going to be, first of all, obviously a user collection. So let's just do first of all, let's go to user service. User got this collection and add to collection. Okay, we want to basically have a connection to our users and then its ID. So we'll do something like That wouldn't work. Let's go back here. We will come back to improving later. With today's expense collection, and the collection are going to be, first of all, we want to get to okay, I guess now this would do the same thing. Let's test our application now. So if I take a look at our data, got 3 expenses there. I'm gonna click on plus button. I'll just say 546 gibberish and select something like electricity. Click on add, and we should be seeing another value popping up here. Doesn't really show up, so I'm just gonna refresh the page. Let's see if we have the 4 of them. All right, for some reason, we need to get the debugger up and running, and now we're getting an error that cannot see the value changes. There's something wrong with our code now. All right, so let's do something. Doc, and then so this dot expenses, and we got this today's expenses there. So we don't want to actually check the values for total expenses. I'm just going to just get rid of this, and I'm going to do something like here. Here I'm going to do this dot, hang on. Once we have the connection, I can use dot subscribe, and I do the dot value change. Nah, it wouldn't work. What I'll do here is this dot today's expenses equal to this dot the expense collection dot value changes. All right, and now if we go to debugger, and we're gonna open this page, let's see what actually happened. Click on this, and let's just do something like we'll do 100% size. Yeah, this is better. Let's just do a description there, and let's select the type. Click on add, and it says expense was created, expense created. Let's see. We actually have that expense created for refresh. Okay, I'm not seeing that. So here is something happened. Here we got this in expenses. We actually created this 05, and we got the 07 and 020, and then the data, and then this, and there you go. So there's a lot of things happening here. So let's go to here. And first of all, let's get rid of this collection. Collection part, confirm you want to delete the collection by having its ID. Right, not this bit, but I want to clear this document. I'm gonna delete this. Okay, now let's see what happened there. So let's go to the code. So here it's called interest observable expense of interest interface is not assignable. Right. This bit, I'm gonna change this to any. Okay. And now this should be okay. We got this user service, getting the user. Once we get the user subscription, then we say user expense collection. We get the collections from user at user ID, and then the collection expenses. That's good. Now then we use this today's collection to, we got this user expense collection dot doc. Now doc is basically this one. This is the problem there. A doc should have a current date, which is basically it's actually not returning properly. So I'm going to figure out what is this getting returned. So this is going to be, let's go to expense rate. Initially, what happened was if I uncomment this code, so this would create a key, and that would be with the created on a data object. Okay. And if I go to add expense component, what happened here? So we're getting ID, amount, description, and we get this this dot data some get selected date, which is, I don't know, somewhere there. Yep, that's fine. Then we say date, not date, then expense are created on. Okay, here is the thing. Here is the thing. Right. So what we need to do is we need to be able to subscribe with current date. This is where I want to subscribe to. DB service, and I want to actually, now what I want to do here is to this dot date and time service dot get date and time description dot probably nah. So there should be a function here which returns get value, so get selected date. Okay, that should be fine. So if I go to get selected date, then we can convert that into string. Let's see how we converted that. So if I go here, got this add expense, get selected date, and then we say create not date, scroll the date. Then we went ahead and created an expense, and then inside this we got this key, this dot get date and time with ISO format. All right. So let's do this. It's gonna be a little bit weird. Once we get this get selected date, we want to create that with this get ISO format. So we'll do something like this. This dot date and time service dot get selected ISO format with this dot date and time service dot get selected date. And why it's causing an error? So its promised date is not a standard date. Hmm. That should fix that. Okay, but anyway, I'm gonna be creating just to test the selected. Right, so what I'm gonna do here is, first of all, I'm going to hmm, let's do a console log as well for this dot selected data, and let's see what it throws. So let's go to our debugger. I'm gonna refresh this page, and here we got the 05/17/2020. That's the selected data we got now. That's good. So now let's try adding an expense. So I'm gonna refresh the page first, and I'm gonna verify that I don't have that expenses. So I'm gonna click on this plus button. Let's say 50. We'll say trying to add spend by date. Like to type to, let's just say services, and hopefully this would work. Click on add, and it didn't dismiss. Maybe we have some function missing. If I go to add expense component, and this is actually the problem there. So we should have a dismiss model. You see what? Okay, because we created this as thing, that's why it's not doing it. So I'm just going to say fine. Okay, that should actually work now. actually caused a lot of issues here. So it says add expense component unexpected token. So I guess this is an unexpected token there. This was the problem. Shouldn't be here. I don't know why do I even have this function at all. I don't want to have this function there. I could simply call this the model control dismiss right there. Let's verify the data what we have here. All right, so still no expenses. So let's give it a shot. So I'll do something like this. And let's select the service, click on add. And then there you go. I want to verify the data was edited here. So let's just do a refresh. All right, so things looking okay. So if I got expenses, I have the 05, 07, 20 data document. And then here we actually got that bit. Now I'm just concerned about why we're getting these many document. Let's just get rid of this bit. Okay. And for now, because we added some stuff there, so I'm just gonna go to this is where we need to hide it. Well, let's see what this thing is returning. Let's open up a log. Click on add. So we got this DB service. This is where 157. That's the data. Okay, this is the problem there. All right, that's fine. This is an ID. Okay. But we got this today collection. Something's wrong with the collection. Okay. So here we can see we got the user collection to expenses. And then we want to say today expenses. We want to see what is the selected date there. Now I've already got the selected date there. So let's take a look at this now. Going to add plus description, select the data, and add. And it says expense was created. Let's verify that. Refresh. All right, something has caused an issue. Did we actually got rid of this total collection? I think so. So what we need to do here is I'm gonna go to authentication. Let's get rid of this account. And now, because we don't have that there, so I'm gonna go to login page, go to register. So T3 at test.com, phone number, type this, click on register. After register, we go here, we're gonna refresh, go to T3 there. And if I take a look at the database, I should be able to see that user with its ID and getting this thing here. I'm gonna open this in a separate tab here in the database. Now let's try adding an expense. This, click on add. And now if I refresh this page again, see if we had the data. So nope, no data was added. Actually, we actually commented out this line. So let's see what we have. In auth service, we got this user log, that's fine. And we have this expense, which is this, which is wrong. Not really, not this one. So console log. Okay, let's see what happens. I'm gonna go to the code and uncomment this line. And let's get rid of this. All right, we got expenses. And now again, document, collection, and again, and then the data. Nah, I don't want to do that. I actually don't want to deal with this kind of thing. So delete this. What I want to do here, go back to code. This connection I want to create Hmm. Okay, so if I add, you can see another document there. That's good. Now let's go back to the code. Here we got this Angular Firebase now. Right, now we want to be able to read a function. I don't need this selected date. Okay, I'm gonna just use this new date dot toDate string for now. That was causing some issues, so we just get rid of that. Now I would like to show the data from our Firebase. So depending on the date we select. Okay. Now here I'm going to create a async function which says set current set expense collection by date. And here I would like to get the date. Okay. And that would be a type of, let's just say, how do we grab the date and time? So if I go to add expense, here we get an expense, here we got this get selected date. And then it says created on. And then we got this expense there. Now, if I actually getting this, collection. Well, let's do, for example, string for now. Promise void. Now here I'm going to say this dot today expense collection equal to this dot Firestore dot collection, and then you can have like a users there. Then I'm going to grab all this bit again. I know it's a bit weird the way I'm doing it. I'm gonna grab the user ID as well. So here we got this user. First thing I want to do something get rid of this, and I'm gonna say user UID, current user UID, and that would just be, I guess, a number. And this is returning a user where the UID is string. So now here I'm going to set dot user UID equal to user dot UID there, right? Let me change this. So let's say the UID, the current user UID, so the UID. Then I can use that same here. Is dot user UID and get rid of this thing here as well. Say this dot the UID. Okay, and then got this date coming in from, what we just say, coming in date, and then we just add another date there. That's another thing that we're gonna do. Then let's go to our dashboard page now. First of all, let's open a log, and I'm gonna go to application, and I'm gonna just delete the whole data, so clear site data. Clear. It's clear. We no longer require the local database there. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to, let's close some files. It's a bit of a mess there. I'm gonna open up dashboard. So here, getting dashboard. Here, to do a magic now. The magic would be selecting the today's total subscription there and date subscription, and then we got this subscription get expense subscription. So there's a lot of modification that we need to do here. Now the private, the DB service, and say DB service there. And here, let's just do one thing. So I'm gonna, instead of this, we can say this dot DB service dot day expenses. We're gonna drive to this user collection. Today expense collection. Let's just do it to the expense collection, not leave it private. So to the expense collection. Now here it's saying this expression is not callable. Angular 520 has no call signature, so that's fine. Go to DB service, and I'm going to this one. Today expenses is what I need to. Okay. Now let's go ahead and log into our application, and I want to show this data there. Here we got T3. So let's go to the code, login page, and I want to be able to put the value here, so I don't want to have to type that against the T3 test. T3 at test.com, password should be hello. And let's see if we are able to log in. So I'm gonna log in, and there you go. So now Gonna go to dashboard component, and here we're gonna do a breakpoint there. If our debugger is running, it's not running, so we just start that. Okay, so if I refresh, nothing coming up. So I'll do console.log, the expense, and let's see what is actually coming up. Okay, cannot read the property of undefined. Right, so let's go to our DB service. So this is where it's saying it is actually undefined, because probably the user service hasn't been created yet. So I would like to do something like day split. So I'm going to do get day expense, and then we are going to just return observable value any for now. So return this dot day expense. Okay, and I'm going to use this one now. If I go to dashboard, I'm going to use get. Good. And let's see what happened. Where is our okay, again, dashboard component. This is where it's causing an issue there. Let's go to a documentation. So here we got this item. I guess I know what it's doing. So we don't really need to do a subscription here. What I can do, I can, in the constructor function, let it run. So in the constructor function, I'm going to say this dot expenses equal to this dot db service dot get today's expenses. Not this one. Okay. But this again is not a subscription, so I'm gonna use this dot subscription. Okay, we're getting there. No. Well, let's see now if that actually returns some value. So still saying subscribe off undefined. If I refresh the page, still causing this subscribe. So what we need to do, see what is this? Okay, so finally we got some data. That's really good. And this data is actually coming from our database. So all the data is coming from that database. Now I want to be able to set date. So I would like to so here, as you can see, the today doesn't work because it changes the collection. So what I can do here is probably I want to change the date accordingly. If I go today, will that get passed? Let's go and check out this event. I'm gonna do change selected date. So date and time service, this creates a date. I don't want to use that bit because in in DB service it just calls into. So we use new date dot date to string. So we'll go to dashboard component, and I'm gonna just this dot date and time service select today. That's fine, and then we say expense emit expense date from. I'm gonna just go here, and I want to use this DB service. And say this dot DB service dot set expense by date. I'll create a new date here with value. We can say to date string, and let's just comment to spit out. Yes, I got this. If I go today, yep, that's fine. It still works because it's pushing the same date. If I go to a different date now, let's just say go to 16. It didn't change. If I go to 13, yep, it does not change anymore. So here is change selected date. It says set current to today date. Well, let's do a debugger here. I'm going to select the date, say 14. Now here we got this date coming as 14. That's fine. So if I go to PyCharm debugger, I'm gonna go inside this, and now I'm gonna do actually let's do a breakpoint there as well, and just let it run. Now here we're getting a date as this. That's good. Got today's collection Firestore collection. Today's collection gets changed, and also once we do that, then I want to say this dot day collection dot value change dot subscribe, get the value, and say this dot data service dot set expenses to value. It's a bit like a bad code here, guys. Let me just share that with you guys. Okay, so 17, we're getting lots of errors. Obviously, we're gonna have to fix them. So we got invalid pipe argument, so time, seconds, date, and time pipe. So a lot of error with date and time. We'll not worry about that for now. Here we got this error for that. Oh, let's not worry about it. So I'm gonna change this to 16. All right. So now if I go to 16, I let it run, and I get that as 16, then it's gonna change the connection. and then I'm gonna let it run. Then it's gonna go to next, and there we go, the data goes away. If I say today, then I'll let it run, and data comes back. Now there's a lot of room for improvement, but at least we can see the data. Now let's go to the code again, and here, I don't wanna remove this function now. And what I'm gonna do here is set expense collection by date. That's fine. This is okay. We need to actually do something, destroys things when this doesn't work. So next thing what we'll do, we go to dashboard component. Okay, to get, so here it's saying this is selected date value. This dot then time service dot. So selected is with this. This is the creation. We get rid of this, and data time service. So it's basically set selected date, and this is where it selects set the date. Okay. What we want to do here is, if I going to just subscribe to it. Once set expense collection done, then I'm going to just do something like this. I'm going to say this dot date time service dot set selected date to value, I guess. Okay, and then says expense service emit expense by date. We're already doing that, so we don't need that anymore. All right, I'm gonna save this, and we got the date there. I'm gonna click on date and go to 16. Click on this, and then we see the date changes and the data changes as well. Now I want to make sure that I store the data according to the selected date. So let's open up our database. So let's refresh this page. Here we see a date collection with data under this 1720. Yeah, we're selected date is 16 now. So I'm going to click on plus, and let's just say $50. Let's say testing to store by date. I'm going to select the top as gift and click on add. Let it run, and now I want to see another document within expenses. So if I refresh, I should be able to see date 16 has a data, and it has a document which is like 50 and this. Okay, that's good. If I click on today, let it run, and we get the data back. We click on date 15, click on done, and let's go to no data. Today will give us data. I'm not sure why it's actually so I'm gonna go to code. I'm going to just meet all the breakpoints for now. So date, go to 16, got this data, go to today, and there you go. Now the cool thing about this, let me tell you, one thing is really, really, really cool. Okay, so for example, if we go to 17 data collection, and I'm gonna go to, for example, this one. You see this 741. Now, this is exactly the console of Firebase. I'm not touching that. If I just change the value to, let's just say 800, and I say update, and you should be able to see the updated data. All right, you don't see that. Let's refresh. Probably now we got 800. I want to change the description to say this update. And for some reason, it's not actually syncing properly. Let's do one more thing. Go to the code. Here, you can see in the dashboard, we're doing a lot of subscription here. So I would like to actually not subscribe here, but I'm going to do something like just leave that bit there. Okay. And then I'm going to select today's date, doesn't do anything. To go to dashboard, and I'm going to add pipe here, async pipe. Async A, Y. Right. So if we go to this dot data subscription, now let's see what's going on. Dot subscription. That's expense. These works. Okay. Let's do one thing. I want to make it like asynchronous. If I do something like this, change it to expenses, I do async. All right. So the subscription's happening. If I go to database and but for some reason my application is like a bit, it got a bit weird. All right, if I go and do something like this, if I go and change the value now to let's say 400, update, and then it still does not really, it doesn't really, yeah, it doesn't really do much here. Because the data is actually not loaded properly. So go back to the code. We just gotta fix this. Because we have this subscription there, I don't need to do all this crap. I don't need to do all this. Okay. Now we have a date and time subscription. So if I just copy this and go to our component and where we have find out, where is it? Date subscription. So we're gonna find where is our date subscription. Okay, so selected date was being used. So let's go to find selected date, its date, and also I'm gonna paste that date and time description. Let's just copy this and I just paste that there. Also have an async pipe there. Then we don't need none of this. All right, total subscription. This is what we need to fix. I'm gonna copy this to this total subscription, and we go to dashboard page, and here we got total. Now it's total subscription is setting to today's total. So let's do this. This is the one. I'm gonna paste that here. Today's, not this one, but let's do the subscription. Yep. And then just paste it here. We're gonna do another pipe called async, and then we're just gonna get rid of this bit. Okay, so things should work at this state. If I go to date, I'll change to 16. I should see the data 50. What is this? Oh, let's see what's going on there. We make any bug here? Got a, oh yeah, that's bug there. All right. If I refresh this page, I get this data and services, but I don't get the type for the second value. I want to see how many errors I'm getting. Okay, so first error is unable to convert timestamp into date or pipe date time. So that's one error. And then it's saying again the unable to convert date pipe. Okay, so it's like our date pipe is stopped working. If I go to this date pipe and get rid of this, and then there should be another category pipe. Leave that there. Let's see now. Okay. Right, so you guys can see we're not getting any errors. So now this bit is something weird happens. So as you can see that the full date is actually coming up. If I go to our code all the way up, that's a currency type, and then this dot can use date pipe there. Should be fine. Let's see. Well, here I'm able to use, but not here. What's going on there? So we've got async and then date pipe. So let's take a look what's going on there. Here we got this get expenses, and this is the problem here. So I would like to, first of all, add async and then date pipe there as well. Let's see if we get an error. Again, async pipe. The time is actually not right. So what is going on there? So I'm gonna actually I'm gonna find out the values that we're getting. Another thing that I would like to do here is because the date is listed here, you don't really need to show the date there. So I'm actually going to get rid of this. I could fix this, but I don't need to have that date right there. It might be like it's good to have like some description type there. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do, let's see what are the changes that I've done. There's a lot of things that I did, so we're gonna add them all to a commit. say added DB service, able to add the data. I'm going to do a git push to the master branch. And the next thing we want to do here is I'm going to go to package.json file, and I want to run this on an Android device. So I'm just gonna run this, and this script is going to open Android Studio for me, and this will actually start the application on the emulator. Let's wait for it. Oh, what time is it? It's almost 3 a.m. in Australia. So we did a lot of work in this live stream actually. How are you guys finding it? So I got only 2 people watching me. You guys can send me a message. Anybody watching me, send me a message, please. Right, so we got Android Studio. I can click on this play button. Actually, I'm gonna rebuild the project first. So here I'm opening Android emulator. And inside this, we should be able to see the data as well. So here we got the data right now. Okay, so a couple of things we want to do. As you can see that I've got one user here, and 3. I'm going to sign up with a new user, and I'm going to add expenses for that particular user. And we want to verify that with the current data here. Let's go to register, and I'm going to say T4, and we'll just email as @test.com. Phone number, we can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the password, hello 1, 2, 3. Not this one. I want to remember that. 1, 2, 3. Hello 1, 2, 3. All right, let's register. Once you register, you go to our page, and there you go. We got another user there. So if I click on the user, I've got T4, and we got its detail as well. All right, now here we got the date. Cancel out today's date. Now I'm gonna go and click on this plus button, and for adding expense, so I'll just say, oh, with $10, I say first expense, and I'm going to select a type to, for example, gift. Okay, are you guys ready for it? Thanks, mate. Thanks, Royal. Appreciate it. Okay, so now if I click on add, I should be able to see the data. So let's add. Here we got the data there. And now I probably want to refresh the page. Wow. So I've got this user. I can go to expenses, 17th, and here's the data. And then there you go. There's a document, and I've got this expense there. Click on a date, switch date to 16. Click on plus, add 60, adding new data, and I'm going to select let's just say Texas. Click on add. I should be able to see another document here getting generated. It takes a bit of time to refresh. You have to actually refresh the page. Now, if I go to browser, refresh, I should be able to see another document there. Didn't really see another document. Data was edited, so let's see what's going on there. Oh, so not here actually. That's going to be 16 and the data. And then we got the document here. Now, what I will do here is he is a user, which is T3. I created using a web page, right? I want to log out from our emulator. So let's log out. And I want to log in with T3 and I want to be able to see this data instead of the data that we created. We use this app to sign up, right? Click on login. I get to see here, and the data didn't really update because we probably on the 16th, so it actually didn't update. So if I click on today, doesn't update. So it still says 60. As you can see, we found a bug now. Now if I kill the application, I start the application again, and now I see the data. So for some reason, the instance of that particular tabs component wasn't actually getting destroyed. So that's another thing that we need to do. So to do a quick fix for that, I'm gonna find logout function. So here we got this to logout, not this, but logout. This should be in one of the files. I'm gonna do a filter mask. I'm gonna do yes, and this should be this one, and then here we're navigating, right? I want to do then, and then it's gonna send a boolean. So if I say bool, now I'm gonna okay. Now it's time for us to see the navigate. Make this an array. Now let's go to Angular documentation, and I'm gonna go to router. Here we got this router. We should be able to see a function says navigate, and a navigate takes a command navigation extra, and it returns boolean. Let's see what is navigation extra. So in navigation extra, got this activity route, query primes, preserve fragment. I don't know what this thing does. Let's see what is this. So when true, preserve URL for the next fragment. Okay. Skip location when true, navigate without push history. Replace URL when true navigates while replacing the current state in history. State. Okay. I'm gonna try this replace URL. Let's copy this, and I would like to do like this. Replace URL, and now say inside this. Now let's take a look. Now I want to open up our database, and here I'm gonna do a logout. Okay. Now I want to log in with T4. Login, and the data is still there. So as you can see, the actual the component is not being destroyed. Ah, right. Let me find a way to actually fix this state. Okay, we might want to fix that later. But one last thing I want to fix is this today's button. So set current to today's date. So here we got the selected date. I want to pull the same thing. So I go to copy this, paste that, and the date is going to be just today's date. And that should work. But one thing I want to do here is want to go to itch.json file, and instead of running that script, we're going to run this script, the live reload one, so I could see the data is getting updated in our applications. I'm going to use my Ethernet. How's it going, guys? Welcome to the live stream. Building this demo application using Ionic framework with Capacitor. So we got the Android Studio. It's gonna take an update, so it'll be fine. And then I'm gonna do clean project. I'll do just rebuild project, and when I install this, let's actually delete the application from emulator. Now I'm going to wait for this Gradle build to finish. Once done, then I can just click on that play button, which would install that application there. Okay, that build is finished. I'm going to click on this play button, and then right now, as you can see, it's using app server. Let's log in. I should be able to see the data. There you go. The data comes back. And if I click on this scene, that gives me this data. If I click on today, that brings the data back and updates the date as well. I can select type as pet. Yep. They're all okay. Things come back. We can do a filter. Filter doesn't work anymore, so we might want to fix that later. So yeah, I think so far application is looking good. I've just got to fix this logout issue, because once I log out, it does not really refresh itself. So if I use this T4 account and log in, data is same. Let's have a look what happens there. So if I go to login page, when I do login, it logs in and it navigates to tab. But I would like to go to a DB service here. And I would like to create a function here. I'm going to say async function init Firebase subscriptions. And we just do promise void. Right, so here I would like to move all this bit. I guess I can remove this, so not sure why we're having I can move all this. So cut this and then move it here inside this. Also, now we don't have that, so I'm going to do this dot init Firebase subscription. Okay. Now, when I do a login there, I want to make sure that I do. So this dot total dot unsubscribe wouldn't work. I'll worry about unsubscription later. Now, if I go to login page and I want to basically do then here, I say I don't want to pass any data. I'll just want to make sure that if I do this dot, I need a DB service, private DB service, and do DB service there. I go to this dot DB service dot initialize Firebase, and this would just return. I'm going to use go to DB service again, and I'm going to use await there. Now, when I do a login and I initialize this, I want to have a variable. Today's expense, these two are not being used, so let's just get rid of them. Required. I'm going to say is description initialize. Nah, let's not worry about it for now. Okay. Now if we go to login page, does that subscription, and then it navigates tab. Let's test it out. I'm going to log out. Right. Then I'm going to log in with T3, I guess. Are we logged in with T3? I'm not sure. I need to make sure I have some data there. If I go and log in now, I should see a new data. Log out and log in with T4. I want to do login. And there you go. We got the new data now. So if I just do something, a document, I want to do some stuff here. So I'll serve something. This dot DB service dot tutors collection dot no. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. So we're accessing data service. So we say this dot data service dot get expense subscription dot unsubscribe. And then we say this dot data service dot get today's total subscription dot unsubscribe. This dot data service dot get expenses dot no, not this one. Okay, so we destroy these subscriptions there as well. Right, so if we go to 16, data there, go today, data comes back, log out, then we log back in with T3, and with T3, go today. Now, Something happened now. I'll log out, log back in. No data. But probably we don't want to unsubscribe at this stage. Want to unsubscribe the subscription. Okay, we want to do that here. Let me just get rid of this. Okay. Go to data service, and I would like to unsubscribe here. Okay, things are getting a bit trickier here. So I'm gonna create a function here. I'm gonna say async dot initialize Firebase unsubscription. Promise. So wide. And now here I'm going to access this dot today expense subscription. And for now, we can actually do something like subscribe dot unsubscribe. Okay, so let this dot today user expense subscription dot subscribe dot unsubscribe. This is like a hack thing I'm doing right now, so do not really say what I'm doing. I'm just gonna have to polish this code later on with the proper implementation of RxJS. So let's get rid of this ng on this try. Yeah, one thing we want to do is we're going to go and find the logout functions. Logout. And we're going to have to filter this. Not here. So do logout.